Hi, my loves. So I wanted to do another video, and in this video, I'm going to talk about um, the worst date that I've ever been on, and I didn't even know that it was a date. So I went on, I didn't even, I can't say I went on a date, but I was invited out to hang out with someone. And I didn't think that this was a date because they didn't ask me to go on a date with them. What they did was um asked asked me to come hang out with them because they wanted to hang out with me or something like that. And I obliged because earlier that day, which I already knew that I wasn't interested in this person, but earlier in the day, this person, sorry, I just finished eating, so I have like bits of food in my mouth. But earlier in the day, this person insisted on taking me somewhere that I wanted to go. And I kept telling them no, and they wouldn't take no for an answer. And in me accepting this um, ride to where I was trying to go, I let them know, like, hey, I can't offer you anything that you're looking for. Um, I can't guarantee you what you're looking for. And he was like, no, I'm not looking for anything. I just want to, hang out and get to know you or something like that, which was a total red flag. Um, because we all know like men aren't fully honest about their intentions. And I kind of already felt this, but I was speaking my truth, which was that I knew that I wasn't going to entertain this person in the first place. So I said that, and then they were very like still trying to convince me to um that they were okay with me not um offering or guaranteeing the opportunity to see where this would go further. So, with that, I obliged and I took the ride to the destination that I was trying to go to. Mind you, this is another red flag. This person saw me out on the street and I was walking into my complex, and they decided to like turn around and follow me into my complex, which was another red sign or a red flag, excuse me, that that wasn't okay with me. And I mentioned it, and I'm like, he was like, yeah, I saw you, and then you disappeared, and I tried to like find where you were, and I saw you walking in into this complex. And so I just decided to turn around and follow you and drive into your complex. And luckily, I wasn't anywhere near where my entrance to my place is. I was just in the parking lot of my living uh, quarters. So, because of this, he didn't really know where I was living. And I kept it that way because I didn't want this person to feel at all comfortable with his action of trying to pick me up. in a way that wasn't an invite. So, so, I kind of felt comfortable enough to take this ride to where I was going. He insisted that I go along with him, just to get to know him. And he gave me, and I was very hesitant. I said no several times, like many, many times. And one thing that he did to make me feel comfortable was to give me his ID and say, take a picture of my ID, send it to a friend, let them know that you're with me. And I was like, okay. I felt comfortable with that. So when that happened, I felt comfortable enough to take the offer. So once I took the offer, we were in his car and we were talking. But to be honest with you, this is red flag number 3 of the entire experience or date that I was on. He goes, um, So I asked him one question and he started rambling on about a whole ton of shit that happened to him and why he um, left the States and then came back, and how someone made him feel in his family because he went back to his home country to try and, I guess, make a living there, but it didn't work out. So when he was telling me this, he was just talking and talking and talking and didn't ask me anything about myself until he was done with his story. And then he started, and then I wouldn't even say started. I think he asked me one question out of the entire trip going there. And I didn't really get the sense that he was interested in who I was. He was more interested in what I could offer him or what I could do for him. That's the sense that I got while I was on this ride to the destination that I was trying to get to. So that was another red flag for me, someone who just wasn't really engaging in trying to get to know me, but was more interested in um, talking about themselves. So there's a couple of red flags from the start. The fact that this person just drove up into a place where they had no business driving up to just because they were interested in me. So following me, entering my complex, um, not respecting my privacy or my decision to not entertain um, his, what I guess was his way of grabbing my attention. So this person honked at me on the street. And they do that a lot here in Arizona. They honk at you if they think that you're pretty or attractive or something like that. But I choose to not acknowledge or pay attention to that, because that is not how you will pick me up ever. So that is something that they like to do here, is honk. So I ignore it. So I was walking back into my complex. And then once I got into my complex, this person followed me into my complex. And I knew that that was the same person that honked at me. So I was slowing down, not walking fast, because I didn't want them to follow me to my doorstep. So I stopped and he got out of his car. He parked his car, got out of his car. I stopped walking at this point and he started a conversation with me. And the thing is that, okay, that doesn't matter. So he started a conversation with me, and then he started like, we were just communicating, and I was kind of, I already knew from the get-go I wasn't interested, but I entertained this person. Don't know why. I was just trying to be friendly and courteous and kind. And I just kept seeing things that I did not like. And the fact of it was how he would constantly try to um, convince me to go where it is that I said that I was going to go do something, and he was like, "Oh, well, I have the day off. I don't mind taking you." Da 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 da. Da. And I kept saying, "No, I'm okay. No, thank you. I'm fine. It's okay. No, thank you." But he kept saying things like, "No, just, I don't mind taking you. I'm not doing anything. It's not an inconvenience for me. Take advantage while you can." And I was like, that's exactly what I don't want to do, is take advantage. Just because you're offering me this option, I'm okay getting there by myself. And he was like, I don't have anything else to do. I don't mind taking you. And then at some point, he broke me down, and I was just like, yeah, okay. Because he was like, "Do you have family here?" And I'm like, "No." And then he was like, "Do you have a girlfriend here?" And I was like, "Yeah, do." And he was like, "You can take a picture of my information and send it to them. And, just so you feel comfortable being in my presence." And he was so convincing. He was just like, "Yeah, I have a sister, and I would never do anything to hurt, another woman, because I'm a big brother to a sister," or something like that. So because of these things, it broke me down, and it allowed me to be more um open to allowing someone to take me somewhere that I needed to go. And so because of that, and because he was willing to provide me with um his ID and give it to a friend, in order to let them know that in order to let them know who I'm with and where I am, created a sense of safety. So I accepted that option, and I gave the information to a friend of mine. I let them know that this is the person I'm going to be with, and I'm just running an errand. So I will text you when the errand is over and when I'm back home safely. So that was already in place. I felt more at peace with that. And so because of that, so I took the ride. So I take the ride, and I am in this car with this person. This person just did not really, I was just picking up and noticing specific things that didn't sit well with me or that I didn't like. So one was that if I told him something, um, he didn't either accept it, or he didn't fully pay attention to what I was saying. So really, he wasn't acknowledging my end of the conversation. So I remember telling him that he asked me, like, more so like, "So what are you doing with, like, what plans do you," I don't know how to say this, but like, "What are your plans for your life or your future?" Something like that. And I told him what I was doing, and he didn't ask any follow-up questions. It felt like he didn't really have interest or truly understand what it is that I was trying to convey, as far as like what I'm personally working on in order to create more for my life. So that was another red flag. So he talked a lot about himself, and then when it came to me, he wanted to know like what I was doing with my life, and where was my like, what plans did I have with my future. And when I told him what plans I have for my future, I really didn't get any further um interest, like any further follow-up questions like, "Oh, well, what is that and how did you get to this?" Or like, questions that would show that someone's interested in getting to know you. Never got any questions like that. And so that's something that I also picked up on. Then we get to the spot. I'm telling him, I'm trying to give him directions of where this place that I need to pick up an item from is. And he's so focused on, I don't know what he was focused on, to be honest with you, but I felt like he was more interested in talking about himself again than um, really being present and self-aware, if I could say that. So don't get me wrong, like um I was grateful for the offer for what he did, but I also am just the type of person that just because you are doing one thing doesn't necessarily mean that other aspects of you don't need to be present in order for me to value and appreciate what you are doing. I hope that makes sense. So in order for me to really truly um, feel that what you are doing is in fact genuine, um, you have to be someone who is um, available to what I'm trying to convey. So the conversation has to be a two-way street, not a one-way street. And the reason why I say this is because I was giving this guy directions on how to get to where I was trying to get to, and he wasn't paying attention to my initial guidance. So I'm telling him, "Oh, this is where it is because this is where I saw a video of the person showing where their store is located." And I said this about two or three times, and he wasn't paying attention to anything that I said. And he kept saying something like, "Oh, um, the map is saying that it's here." And I'm like, "No, it's right in, it should be in between this door and this door." And he was like, "Okay, we'll see if it's um saying that this place is there," or something like that. All I know is that I was saying that this is where this store is supposed to be. And he was like not acknowledging what I was saying because he was so focused on trying to look like he knew what he was doing. So that turned me off. And then we get into the store, and I just need to grab a few of the items that I came for. And he's making conversation with one of the store, um I want to say store managers, and he's just like basically talking out of his ass about like, "Oh, this is a really nice place and that it should be in downtown, in the downtown area, or do you know about Scottsdale?" Like, these people have been doing business for years. Like, I'm sure they know the best location of like where their store should be. And I had to say, yeah, they were in a place where it was more accessible. And so they chose to relocate. And the person had already mentioned that they were relocating because of um, a specific reason. And she mentioned this. at the beginning when we enter the store because she struck up a conversation with me. So when we enter the store, he wasn't even present to like the conversation that I was having with the manager because she was talking to me about like, "Oh, I'm so happy that you found us." And I said, "Yeah, like I'm a avid customer. I was so sad that you guys had to leave the area that you were in." And all of this just did not reach his ears, and he was literally behind me in the store, and all of that conversation didn't reach his ears. So that's another point of reference that just did not give me the best vibes off of this person. So after we so we're in the store and I'm picking out the items that I want, and he's talking to the manager, and I spoke up and I'm like, "Yeah, they used to be in a more easily accessible location." And then he was like, "Oh, I didn't know," or something like that. And I'm like, "Okay." And then he's like, "Okay, so at least now we know where you are and we can come back and we can come back um again," or something like that. And then I'm like, "No." I was thinking in my head like, "No, you're not bringing me back here." And so I had to speak up and just be like, "Yeah, I don't expect you to bring me back again," because he was just saying something like, "Oh, now we know where you are and we can come back here again, and we know just where you're located, and so yeah, so now we can come here more often, or it'll be easy for us to come here again," something like that, something to the fact that he's basically stating that he's going to be bringing me here again, like he's going to be coming back here with me again. Mind you, I just met this person within an hour, and you're already talking as if the two of us are in a relationship and we're going to continue to see each other, which was such a red flag for me. And so just the fact that he was assuming that what whatever was there was something that was going to be a now permanent thing. And for me, that is a sign of someone who is controlling. That is a sign of someone who thinks that they are the person in charge in a relationship. And I just feel like that's not okay. That's not a healthy position to hold if you're trying to pursue someone, if you're interested in someone. And the funny thing is, thinking back, like when he first came up to me, like got out of his car and was trying to, and we were just talking, just being, kind of getting a pretty basic foundation of like who you are and what are you about. I offered when he was asking to take me, I offered to exchange phone numbers because I wasn't comfortable with getting into a car with this person, and he was like he didn't want to take my phone number. He refused taking my phone number, and he insisted that he take me to wherever I'm going because he would like to like talk more and get to know each other more. And I was like, "Yeah, we can do that. I can give you my phone number. I have no problem with that." And he refused. And in that refusal, he offered for me to take a picture of his ID and send it to a friend. And so that is why I obliged, like I've said a few times already. So now so that was an experience, like another red flag of like, why are you like trying to essentially assert yourself over me and control the dynamic of how I decide to engage with you. That was another major red flag. So back to the store story. So we're at the store and he is saying how, yeah, I like now we know where you are and I'll we'll be back again or something. And so I spoke up and I said, I don't, I said something like, I don't expect you to come here with me again. And then he was like, what? And then I said, I don't expect you to bring me back here again. And he was like, I don't even know. He said something like, I'm not paying attention to you. I don't even know what you're saying. And then I chuckled and I went back to what I was doing. So basically, that was another point in the few moments that we were together that he kind of just denied or kind of refused to acknowledge my my intentions of not really having him in my life or around my energy, like not really having him as a part of my life or as a love interest. And so he kind of just, I don't know the word that I said before, but basically he kind of didn't acknowledge the fact that I was trying to say, like, yeah, you're not gonna be someone that I'm gonna be like entertaining, essentially. So once this so after that, I get my stuff, I pay for it, I leave. We both leave. Okay, so now we're driving back and I'm getting dropped off back where we originally um found, or I can't say found, met, where we originally met, which was at the parking lot of my complex. So he's like, yeah, like I'm gonna go eat. And he was like, this is where I'm gonna go eat. Like, do you want to come with me? And I was like, no. I was like, I'm gonna go back home and, like maybe next time. And then he was like, okay. And once we got to my place, he showed me where he was gonna go eat because we have a common culture. So he was stating that this is where he goes to eat all the time. They have, he was telling me that they have your cultural food, and I was like, yeah, I'll go another time, like at another time. Basically, I was trying to kind of end it there, but he was trying to again insist that I go eat with him and just do more than what I was willing to do in just meeting him within the hour. So then we get out of the car. He's like, he gives me a hug and he goes, yeah, like today's Veterans Day and usually they have like fireworks at this place. Like we can go there after I come back from eating if you want to. And so I just tend to be very just passive about things. And I was just saying, oh, okay, yeah, sure. Just to kind of end the conversation and have him go and then have me go my way. But one thing that I I find that I need to stop doing is giving men the idea that I'm still interested, or the idea that I'm too agreeable is what I'm trying to say. So giving them the idea that I am okay with what they are offering when I'm actually really not, and I'm just trying to be nice and not really ruffle anyone's feathers. So at this point, I'm just trying to get him to leave and just be like, yeah, like we can meet up again, even though I knew that I wasn't going to do that. But at this point, we exchanged numbers just to kind of, just to be, again, just to be someone who's agreeable, just to be someone who is kind, just to be someone who's nice. I give him my number because I felt that at this point, at least we could still find a friendship out of this whole interaction, because I knew I was not sexually attracted to this person, I was not physically attracted to this person, and then I was not energetically attracted to this person. When I say energetically, just the way they were carrying themselves, just the interactions, like the conversations we were having, just his perspective on life. These things were not something that I was attracted to. So knowing this, I just tried to oblige and at least maybe possibly I'm open to friendship. So I obliged with giving my phone number. I obliged with um potentially hanging out again, but I felt in my heart that my answer was going to be no. So I go home. I think maybe an hour later, he calls me to check in on me to be like, hey, like, so yeah, like, did you eat when you got home? And I was like, yeah, I ate. And then he was like, what did you eat? I told him what I ate. And he was like, oh, that's not food. Like, I can go get you, the food that you said that you would like to eat from the restaurant. I was saying, no, I'm okay. Don't worry about it. And then he was just being consistent in being pushy. So he was like, yeah, but it wouldn't be a problem. I can turn around right now. I'm just coming back from the restaurant. And I'm like, no, you don't need to do that. Like, you left the restaurant, you're on your way home. Like, don't worry about me. I'm gonna make more food. And he was like, yeah, but it's not that big of a deal. I can just call them and have them make the food and bring it, and I'll bring it over. And I was like, no, like, don't. I don't want you. So I had to be more aggressive. I had to be more assertive, even more so than what he was being. And I had to lay it out flat. Like, no, I don't want you to get me anything. I'm not hungry. I've already eaten. I'm actually about to, just nap because I was tired and I was trying to get him off the phone. So because of that, I had to be more just more like abrasive in being like, no, I'm okay. I don't want you to get it for me. So hearing this, he finally listened and said okay. And he was like, so how about we meet up after you're done resting, and I'll come get you and we can go hang out at this loungy bar place. And I didn't even know what he was saying. I thought he was saying Walmart, like we could go hang out at Walmart. And I was like, yeah, sure. Like, give me 2 hours and call me, you know, um, then call me in 2 hours. And he was like, okay, I'll call you in 2 hours. So I go to bed And well, I really didn't even go to bed. I just wanted to rest and not hang out again with anyone. So he calls me back in 2 hours, and then he's like, okay, so did you eat? And I'm like, so at this point, I was just being honest, and I was like, no, I didn't eat. And he was like, so how was your nap or whatever? And I was just lying. And I was like, yeah, it was good. Like I just woke up or whatever. And he was like, yeah, so we're gonna go eat. He again insisted we're gonna go eat, and after we eat, then I'm gonna take you to this place. And it kept sounding like he was saying Walmart, and I'm like, wait, like why would you take me to Walmart? And he was like, I'm not saying Walmart, I'm saying the Waldorf or something like that. And I was like, what's that? And he was like, it's like a place where you go to like hang out and drink or whatever. And I was like, okay. And he was like, so yeah, so I'll be there in about 10 minutes. Again, I didn't have my voice. I didn't have my voice. I didn't have my instincts to kind of just end the encounter of this person because I was trying to be um, someone who is agreeable. I was trying to be agreeable. I was trying to be kind. I was trying to be friendly. Um, and that's the position that I was holding in this intense interaction. And so he comes, picks me up, and I'm open to it because if anything, I can offer a friendship, and that's the only thing that I was willing to offer. But again, I'm looking at the interaction that we're having, and all along the way, I was being pressured to be with this person that I knew I wasn't attracted to, and I knew that I was trying to not get them to think that I was interested in anything more. But because of how much pressure and how much um forcefulness this person was showing, I wasn't able to truly have time to say what I knew I already felt. And I already knew that I wasn't attracted to this person. I already knew that I didn't want to date this person. I already knew that I wasn't interested in anything more than a friendship, if anything did come about. So we go out, he buys me something to eat. And the thing is, to be honest with you, this person was very, very gentlemanly like. And sometimes men who are overly like, I don't know how to say, overly giving tend to be men who want to assert themselves in your life. They tend to be um manipulative, just to be honest. And the reason why I say this is because um they want to put their best foot forward in order for you to fall for them. And that's what he was doing. So he was over giving, wanted to do as much as he could to show me that he was a good guy and that he wanted to make me feel comfortable and that he could be trusted, or I could trust him, basically. And so the insisting that he buys me something to eat, the insisting of us going out and doing something or doing things, and all along the way, this just didn't feel good to me. And constantly like opening my car door or opening the door whenever we entered a place is something that you would want someone to do, but it has to be from a genuine place. It cannot be performance based. And I felt that he was just doing it to show me that he was a good guy, and he was just doing it to impress me at the end of the day. So we went to the restaurant, opened the door. When I was getting out of the car, he was opening my car door. And so things like that, I was noticing that, okay, um, this is nice. This is the kind of gentleman that this is the kind of thing that I would appreciate in the person that I was potentially interested in. So I'm just noting every action he's displaying, and then we get to this lounge or this bar, and we sit and we begin talking, and I am the one who is initiating the conversation at this point, because I want to kind of basically get an understanding of where he is at in his life. So I'm asking, like, you know, being the age that he is, does he see himself getting married again? Because he was already married once, and he's a lot older than I am. And I was asking questions about, like, do you want kids? If so, like, what, how do you, how, I guess, I think I asked him how many kids he would want, or I think he just said he wanted only one kid. Great. He only wanted one kid, while I don't want just one. And then I was stating, yeah, like, I don't know if I want kids. I don't know if that's something that I would um, be interested in doing. And I'm just saying this just because I just want him to get the vibe, like, okay, she might not want kids. And he wants a kid. And then I was asking him, like, about marriage, like, do you see yourself getting married again? And then he was like, yeah, he does see himself getting married or something like that. And I was like, okay. And then we got to a point where he was like, how about you? Like, are you in a place where you feel like marriage is something that you want? And I was kind of like, yeah, but not right now, maybe down the line. And he was like, what do you mean not right now? And I'm like, I'm not interested in um focusing on being in a relationship right now. And he was like, that doesn't make sense, because you were just saying that you were interested in a relationship. And he was saying that um because of the car conversation that we were having. And then he said something like, there has to be only two reasons why you're not interested in being in a relationship right now. It's either you're not attracted to me, or because of something else that he said. I don't remember the second thing that he said, but I remember him saying that it's either because you're not attracted to me, or da 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 da, like something else. And I was like, I don't see myself being in a relationship. And I was trying to, like, tell him why. And he was like, yeah, I want to know, why you're not interested in a relationship. And I stated, it's because I'm focused on my career more than I am being in a relationship right now. I don't feel like I'm in a place where I can be in a relationship with my situation, with my financial situation, with my career. And he said something like, So the reason why you don't want to be in a relationship is because you don't feel like you're stable financially. And I was like, yeah. And it was like, that's ridiculous because do you how do you think your parents made it or something like that? And I thought about it and he was like, do you think your parents were stable when they um met? And I knew what he was trying to say, but obviously I was like, no, I don't think that they were stable when my parents, got together. But that doesn't mean that I don't want to be, or that doesn't mean that I'm okay with not being stable when I do end up with whoever it is that I choose to be with. So he was like, so it has to be because I didn't say that to him. I was thinking that, but I'm not okay with that. I'm not okay with not having the stability and the foundation that I would like once I enter into a relationship. So for me, where I'm at right now is that I'll get to that. So I get to a place where I just um understand that he's trying to force me to like him. And so he was like, there's only two reasons why. So, like I said, he said, there's only two reasons why you wouldn't be interested in a relationship. It's either because you're not attracted to me or something else. I don't remember the second thing he said. So he says it again. And I was like, yeah, I'm not interested. And his whole demeanor just changed. All of that niceness, all of that gentlemanly uh, actions just like totally diminished and left the situation. And the reason that okay, and then there's something else that happened while we were like in this lounge place talking or whatever. So the moment a man pays for you or pays, yeah, the moment a man pays for you in any, I don't want to say in any scenario, but I would like to say when it comes to like, and okay, so this, I don't know how to explain this, but I'm going to do my best. So the moment that a man pays for you, when it comes to food or um, some sort of circumstance where he he is the provider and you guys don't really have a strong foundation, the man feels like he's owed something for the exchange of um, monetary um, exchange. So, him paying for you to eat, or him paying for you to enjoy yourself, or him paying for you to participate in whatever it is that you're doing for that evening is him feeling like he has invested in this person and now he's owed some sort of exchange for the investment that he has made. And this could be simple, a simple amount of money because let me tell you, the price of the dinner was less than $15. So even at $15, this person felt, and let me clear it, he insisted on taking me out. He insisted on paying for my food. He insisted on um just being the source that provided for the evening. And with that comes a sense of entitlement. Oh, now she owes me. And the reason why I'm saying this is because once we got to the lounge and we found a place where we could seat, we found seating. He felt obliged to now put his hands on me, to put his hands on my back and start rubbing my back. And it wasn't like like a rub like that. It was more like a trying to scoop me in and kind of hold me closer to him to get physical. And so when a man touches me and he's not invited to touch me, I tend to shift my body so that they can understand that I'm not okay with you touching me. I'm not okay with this physical interaction that we're having right now because I didn't invite you to put your hands on me. And just because you paid for the evening, that does not invite you to now make some sort of sexual approach or action towards me. So that's something that I also saw that I was not um, comfortable with. So now that you've paid for dinner, you expect me to be physical with you. That was a red flag. The entire day that we hung out was a red flag. So once I acknowledge and verbally express that I didn't have interest, his energy definitely retreated from me. I felt a huge shift in our conversation. I just felt a huge shift in our interaction. And yeah, so once he kind of got it in his head that, oh, she's not into me, he ended the evening. He was like, okay, well, I'm ready to go if you're ready to go. And I'm like, I took another sip of the drink that I had and I was like, yeah, we can go. So we walked to the car, and this is something that I just want to give as a warning, ladies. Once you let a man know that you are not interested in them, do not get back into that vehicle with them because you don't know what preceding events can take place. I just want you all to be safe. Just learn from my mistakes, learn from my experience. Get your own ride home or call a friend to come get you. Nothing happened to me, thank God, but you just never know the intentions of a man when you reject them. So we get back, and I'll kind of share why. So we get back into the vehicle that he has, and he's leaving. So we're leaving the this Waldorf bar lounge place. And then he starts getting into his feelings and he's talking about like you he something about the fact that I knew I wasn't interested in him and I should have said something sooner, and which is so silly because I was saying things all along the way and he just wouldn't accept the fact that I wasn't interested. So he was kind of looking back on the fact that I hadn't like essentially said, I'm not interested, no thank you, bye. I told this guy no, that he didn't have to do what he was offering so many times, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. And now we're in the car and he's driving me back to my place where he had no business being in the first place because I walked away from the fact that he was honking at me, and he turns around and follows me into my complex and continued the whole interaction. And I had been sort of kind of nudging him that I didn't need him to do what he was offering me. And I was trying to end it there. And he wouldn't take no for an answer, like I've said. So now we're in the car and he's saying, "You knew the whole time you were interested in me." And then he was saying something like, "Oh, now I look stupid in front of these people that I took you to the restaurant," because he knew people at the restaurant. And he was saying, "No wonder they weren't paying attention to us." And I was thinking in my head, no, they weren't paying attention to us because one, they know you and you're always there. So it wasn't like they needed to pay attention to you because you frequent the place often. And because of that, they weren't paying attention to us at this restaurant. And not only that, it was really horrible service. How do you not pay attention to people who come in to patron the place? But that's the energy of this place that he took me to. Very slow and very just not attentive. And yeah, the service wasn't good. So that's besides the point. But he's going on and on about how, like, yeah, you knew what it was. Your age, you're 40, you knew what it was. And I'm just like, and at this point, I'm just dumbfounded with the way he's now acting, which is just totally opposite from what he was trying to show me, which was that he was a gentleman, which was that he was a provider, which was that he was a kind-hearted person. And so now it's shifted into this sort of blame game of me not being honest from the get-go. And then I just felt my energy shrinking and not speaking up because I didn't want to continue to offend this person or um, make them feel even more attacked. But because I'm someone who's just like, okay, well, let me show you how you perpetuated this entire scenario, along with me understanding that maybe I should have spoke up. Maybe I should have said something. Maybe I should have deaded it. And the thing is that I normally dead things when I'm not interested in a person. But because of his kind-hearted nature and what I thought was someone that I could potentially see a friendship with, and because I'm so easygoing, I entertain it. I entertained him. So now I am kind of thinking to myself, you need to let him know how he played a role in this, because I'm not going to sit here and take all of the blame for something that I kept trying to allude to him that I wasn't open to from the get-go. So I speak up and I say, okay, I understand. Maybe I should have just cut you off. Maybe I should have just said something from the beginning. And then I proceeded to state how I said, you have to stop trying to force things to happen and stop like trying to assert yourself over the situation. Like, it's not attractive when a man is like pushing an issue and trying to that's my food. Pushing an issue and trying to assert themselves over the woman that they're attracted to. And I get it, you guys are hunters, but when a woman says no, or when a woman is giving you pushback, I don't even know if that's the way I could say it, but when she shows she's not interested, you have to accept her initial response and just find a better way to still pursue her. Give her space, give her time. Don't force it. Don't be in a rush. Don't be someone who is kind of desperate, because that's the energy I felt. Felt that he was desperate, felt that he was really more about a physical connection than he was about a real, true, genuine connection. Like, what are the things that we have in common? Um, so once I stated that these are the things that you could work on when you're trying to engage in pursuing a woman, he now states something like, no need to point fingers. And then I said, I'm not pointing any fingers. I'm just sharing with you how you could improve, how you can take responsibility for how we got here. And by that time, we drove up to my complex, and I unbuckle my seatbelt, open the door, and I reach back and I say, God bless you. And I close the door and have a good night. And I have a good night. So there are two lessons that I learned from this. And I want you ladies to take my experience as a learning lesson. I now need to, as a woman, as an independent woman, as a single woman, I need to stop wasting my time with people that I know that I'm not interested in, and I know that I don't want to entertain. So I am now aware that from this experience, if I come across someone that is trying to pursue me and I'm not interested whatsoever in them, I will end it right there and then. And I think I normally do, but you know how we do. We protect ourselves in soft ways, right? So that we don't interrupt or upset the male ego. So yeah, I'll take your number, but I'm not going to call you. Or sure, we can talk on a later day, but I'm not going to answer your phone call. You know, things like that. Soft, gentle ways that we reject men so that we don't hurt their egos, and then they become more aggressive in manner. So the reason why I was, perhaps what I felt was shrinking in his car, not speaking up, but I eventually did, was because I don't know this person. I just met them. They can do whatever they want and they would have no repercussion, because once again, I'm single. I don't have any family here. No one knows that I was on this date with him this portion of the day. So he could have gotten upset with me if I were more vocal or if I were more aggressive in my demeanor. Like, nigga, who are you talking to? You know, that I could I could really, I'm good with the tongue, so I could really put a man in their place if I just didn't have any regard for the person. So because of that, I'm very keenly aware of how to carry myself when I am in the presence of someone that I don't really have a good breadth of information on. And I implore you to also be this way, because you just never know how a man's going to react when you reject them, like I've said. So once I made it home, I made sure to reflect on what happened, how I got here, and pray. I prayed about just how I want to show up. I prayed about really recognizing how to handle myself next time I'm in a situation like this. And just thanking God for, the clarity and the guidance and the protection. And um, the second thing that I wanted to mention, the two things that I learned, the second thing that I wanted to mention is that I I do want to be in a relationship, and I want to be in a relationship with someone who I feel a connection with. I want to be in a relationship with someone that um is the right person. And I knew this person was totally not that, just because they weren't my type. Um, so my understanding of what happened was that I was able to gain clarity on how to proceed in the future and what it is that I'm actually looking for. Because the mindset of this person was very low vibrational mindset. And I'm someone who is high vibrational mindset. And I'll know the kind of person that I'm meant to be with when they show up or walk into my life. And because of that, I am able to even gain more clearer um, vision for the man that I believe is out there for me. So my name is Adetora Majek. This is another installation of the In Her experience, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good night. Bye.